we're looking to make it.
So that's really nothing new that state's working on then?
No,
Okay.
it isn't, but we have the idea of jumping off that and being much more simple. Like instead of, like if you go on the Charge Master right now and you want to have an x-ray, there's 46 charges. We want to make it so that when you walk in, you say, I want an x-ray, and we say, okay, that's $100.
We have another one. We're putting it on the revolver, and then we'll get the money back and pay the revolver right away. And this time we won't have as much taken out from that revolving account. The first time you had to have 10,000 taken out plus the percentage that we pay for it. This time it'll only be a little bit of money based on a short turnaround time on. Right, exactly. Okay. Cash flow statement. So here is a total assets is 32,000,006. Our current liabilities is down to 3.9 million. Total long-term liabilities 2.1 million. I'm not sure why that's up a little bit. I don't know that answer. Maybe it's because we had some money in that revolver. I'm not sure. Well, that's long-term though. It's right here on this pro forma balance sheet and cash flow statement. There's no page numbers on here, but it's like the fourth page in, something like that. So we had a month ending in January, net income of 1.2 million. I just don't sound as like a CFO, do I? I'm sorry.
As CFO, we wouldn't dare to say anything. We'd be like, huh?
No, so net income was at 1.2, and that was a positive. We have, remind me, he said something about this 752 changes in liabilities. Do you remember what that was? Was that the payments that we got, the gap payment?
Correct. That was the difference between what we send them and what we got back.
Right. Okay, so our net increase in cash was 690,000. And we ended with 1.221 million. So I guess his key takeaways was the increase in cash, decrease in accounts receivable. We had a 5-month lag that's caught up now, and a decrease in current liabilities. So we're working on new vendor payments. We had payments all over the place, so now we're trying to get everything, as much as we can of them at a 30-day pay time, instead of having them literally all over the board. So hopefully that will help, and it has helped our cash flow a lot better. So. Sales to cash collection engine has been fixed. Project plainly shows up to date cash movement. Don't ask me what that means because I'm not sure. Sorry. Oh, here it is. He said, we generated revenue, more AR, less cash, investing activities, interest payment on long-term debt. And then the financing activities are no booked activity this month. Selected comments that he made were that fiscal year 24 audit is winding down. I did send a note to them myself, and they said that they believe that the project would be to us in draft form, the audit for 23-24 next week. Okay, and that we're hoping that the completion is by the first week of March. Fiscal year 25's audit has not been started yet, which is not my ideal. I don't think it's Paul's either, but it had to do with, I think, having to do so much work to get the 23-24 cleaned up to where it needed to be, that we're moving the 24-25 one right behind it instead of trying to do them consecutively, because you needed some of the information from the 23-24.
Because we need to carry over the account. the balances, all the balances.
Have to carry over.
Correct, they have to start off 2025, plus they're also doing a lot of journal entries and reconciling to fix all of the mess, yeah, so that has to carry, they have to have that done before they can start the new year.
Question. So, this letter,
that we got.
are you getting, this references the 24 audit, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Do we think we're gonna make the 1 April?
Yes, I think that we should have, we're gonna get a draft, which we're going to look at very quickly, and then we should be able to finalize it. The only thing I expect that we'll have to do as a team is meet for a special meeting, just to make sure the audit gets seen by you all, so that I can then send the audit out like we're supposed to, so that's what I anticipate changes. And we're needing to adjust the 25 books based on the audit for 24, so that's part of the light piece too. Cost reports are in process. I was under the impression that they were completed, to be honest with you. But I guess there was some stuff that still needed to get to the guys for the cost report. The projected submission for the cost report by 24 is at the end of this week. We're right-sizing the cost structure for the mayor, and working on reducing the reliance on travel labor. I think we're at 7 now?
6.
6. Oh, that's even one more than, better than it was. So, we've been up higher than that, but it's still a significant cost. Right-sizing cost structure is talking about the fact that Tish had changed the room rates to whatever the Medicare was paying us, instead of keeping it at a higher rate, so that we actually get reimbursed better with our gap payments relative to the cost that it actually costs us to take care of the residents. So we'll be changing that rate to like 330 something, 334 or something, from 285 or 65.
333.50.
Yeah, to 333.50. Okay.
So back on the, cost report, when does it have to be done? Like, are we behind on that one? Like, are we?
Oh yeah, we're working on everything. So I just got a note today, but to be honest with you, I have to decipher it. I got a note about a PIP. Did you get that notice too? That was from, I'm trying to remember if it was from Sarah Pino or somebody reminding me that we had a deadline of March 12th or something. And it sounded like it was part of the cost report, so I've really got to pay attention to what that is. But I barely got it today, and I need to read it again. And I sent it to Paul, and he's like, where did this one come from? And I don't understand it. They're calling it a PIP, but I think it's just the cost report they're talking about, so I will check into it more. And then, I mean, we have to get these things in on time. We have to, so we will. We will, so.
Yeah, I wonder if it related to the wrong information that was submitted in the initial.
I think it is, so like I said, I just read it, so I don't have enough information to be smart on it, but just to let you know, we got another letter. We did get a letter from the state reminding us that we are still not in compliance with the audits, and we know that, but just reminding us of the deadlines. And it did say that there was it was from the lawyer here in town, and he said that they were going to hold a meeting in April. So that's really good, because that's basically coming along even a little bit longer than what we said, which was that we thought we could get it done by mid-March at least. And so they're giving us a lot of leeway to get that taken care of. Although we don't have a lot of leeway. It's really almost the end of February, so. The use of AP payment policies that have changed in the revolver has normalized cash on hand, and we aren't cash poor anymore. Like when I first got here, I used to have to sweat it out if we were going to pay everything, but now we're getting that done. Remember, Stacy? Okay, what do we want to pay now? Okay, so I think that's it from his report to me, unless you guys have more questions that I hopefully can answer. There's separate individual per department that you guys can look at.
I'm assuming, and maybe you can't answer this, but I'm assuming he's not addressing the forensic audit in this because we're waiting on the other audits.
That's correct.
Okay.
Although we were pinged by Carrie to make sure to and to make sure that we get them contacted again, so they will be contacted this. I hope I can call them by tomorrow, but if I can't, it'll be Monday or so.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. It's okay if you give me a D, but I tried.
You did fine.
PTA forever.
Okay. I think that's all I've got for them.
Does anybody have any questions, more questions for Kathy that we haven't asked her in the middle?
Come out of the packet.
Carrie, did you have anything you wanted to
Yeah, I
add?
wanted to add Carrie.
I covered everything that we talked about. We're still working on a few county people issues. We didn't really have enough information in this. Paul's still working on getting the revenue and collections numbers to transfer into the right aging buckets. So,
I'm supposed to send that to you, and I forgot the attachment, sorry about
That's
that.
okay. So, we don't have enough information right now to fully evaluate Innova's performance. There are some things that we're talking about that, we're gonna discuss with them a little bit more.
I did notice on the accounts receivable that he broke out self-pay, uninsured self-pay residual.
Right.
Yeah,
which
which,
is-
I like that.
I do too.
I did say that. I would actually, we're working with Paul on getting these to look a little different. I like that that's broken out like that, but I would really like to see self-pay move down. And so we have two agings, one self-pay and one insurance, so that we can evaluate the two different sides of Innova, and because the collections on the two are different. We did also talk a bit about, we've been talking a lot, which we have in this board as well as in finance, about how to redesign the entire process around self-pays and be much more transparent with the community when they come in for a service. We truly believe that it should start there versus the way it kind of is now, which is more on the back end where you have whatever you need to have done, and then you get a big huge bill in the mail, and you didn't really know how much it costs at the time of service. So we're talking about ways to redesign that process and make it more transparent.
Basically an upfront collection of dollars based on the visit, and then a flat rate basically for that for new and then established patients, especially for people that probably just pay cash and don't necessarily have anything except stop loss type of insurance, so that they can know what to pay and pay it right then. This number is 4.6, which I think is kind of high. I do take into account that Medicare's 1.1 million, 0 to 30, but it's still, I need to find out more about that, because I still think that's a little bit
So I
higher.
I personally think it might be, the total aging might be a little bit misleading, just because a big bucket of it is in the 0 to 30, and I think that's probably the way the end of the month fell, because it fell on a weekend.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it probably, I'm betting it came in the first week in February. It's just,
And I noticed that there was some legislation coming out that the state's working on related to having to disclose costs up front.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into that very deep,
So
but I don't know how
there's-
it's gonna relate to what you were just talking about.
yeah, that's been ongoing for a long time, and
Very impossible.
it's largely ineffective. It's basically that, remember Tish spent that whole time putting our charge master out on the website, so you can go there, but you really can't figure out your costs.
So I couldn't.
I mean, I do it for a living, and I couldn't tell you where your costs.
Well, and we got it approved by
So,
we got it approved by the federal government, because they said we were out of compliance, so we made a compliance on it, and I still think it's
we're looking to make it.
So that's really nothing new that the state's working on then?
No, it isn't, but we have the idea of jumping off that and being much more simple. Like instead of, like if you go on the Charge Master right now and you wanna have an x-ray, there's 46 charges. We want to make it so that when you walk in, you say, I want an x-ray, and we say, okay, that's $100. We're looking to make it.
So that's really nothing new that the state's working on then?
No, it isn't, but we have the idea of jumping off that and being much more simple. Like instead of, like if you go on the Charge Master right now and you wanna have an x-ray, there's 46 charges. We want to make it so that when you walk in, you say, I want an x-ray, and we say, okay, that's $100. So we want to make it even more simple than that.
Yeah, I think we can get it done. Yeah. The other thing is to recognize on this budget, which we use numbers that we got from our previous CFO, but we haven't ever implemented the work that we got done with the grant money to get us our CDM uploaded and everything. That still didn't get done. I've asked for it. I do know it's with Epic now, but it's like 1,400, 4,000. I can't remember. We have a huge amount of charges, which sounds wrong to me too a little bit. But anyway, we don't have that in there. So just keep in mind that increase that we're going to put in there is not in there for cost purposes. I mean, for revenue purposes.
So we actually had another good discussion about, along the lines of what this board has discussed before too, about we can come up with a million reasons why this might work, or this might happen, or that might happen. We kind of just have to do something. We have to try something in terms of, here's our list of 20 charges, and we just start talking to people in the clinic. When you come in, we say, this is what you're having today, this is how much it's gonna cost. And I told during finance, we did the same thing in a couple of my practices where we talked about it for a long time and came up with a million reasons why we couldn't do it. And then one day we just sat down and did it, and the patients are actually thanking us now because all of the reasons that we thought were roadblocks on why we shouldn't do it, once we just started doing it, they were thankful that we were more upfront with them about money. They just wanted to hear it.
I think it'll work.
So,
I do. I think
it will be very helpful to the community to give them options and to let them know upfront what things cost.
Any other questions in regard to finance committee stuff? So we need to replace William on the finance committee. And Ben has expressed interest and desire. Is that good with everybody? Ben joins the finance committee. Do we need to have a vote on
Yes, you should, just because, I think it's appointed by you. Now that I said that, again, it's appointed.
If you want to ratify it, you could, but with a vote, but I think Kathy's right, it's a nomination and appointment.
that? At least
I don't have a problem with making it a motion if you want it to be in the minutes. Is that okay with everyone? I make a motion that Ben Roberts join the finance committee.
a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Welcome.
Just so you know,
You get 3 of these now.
William was advocating for you to come just to to be there, you know, which you can't, not do voting and stuff, but you could have. So he was wanting you to be able to go to it. So you're kind of meeting his wish.
Yes. Okay, on to your CEO report, Kathy.
Oh, okay, that's in here. Well, I looked at various legislative bills, but most everything has not passed that they, that they've had on the legislative side. So what I will say to you is, they wanted to increase the reimbursement to long-term care. That failed. They were, I think even the property tax one failed or something too. The one, they do have one for people that have lived, if you're older, long-term homeowner, that you could maybe have your, not have to pay property taxes. And it at least is, it was passed on the second reading in the House. But that's where that's at. It was kind of a stalled. Medicaid, enhanced Medicaid reimbursement rates. You can imagine what happened there. They failed. There is some stuff that has to do with OB, which makes me a little bit, you know, they're trying to solve the problem of labor and delivery because it's not very many places, but they are funding money to help the rural, it says especially the rural areas, but pretty much it's not the rural areas that have the labor and delivery, so the money will probably actually go to like Gillette and Casper. Yeah, so, on second reading, it was passed by the House, but it's not a for sure thing, so, right now. And I think they looked at ivermectin maybe not needing a prescription, and that failed. It needs to have a, suicide prevention was on here too, and that failed. I don't know how you fail suicide prevention, but they did do that, maybe some money for it. And then they looked at identification cards renewal for care facility residents, and it was it's supported by the Hospital Association, and it was introduced, but I think it died on the table because I don't see any votes ever happened with it. And I think Stop Harm, Empower Women with Informed Notices. Don't have any idea what that is about. I probably have, well, I have an idea, but it died on the floor too. So.
I guess with this being a budget year, it just,
Yeah.
you just hardly can do.
Yeah.
The whole point. That's the point. Budget session.
Right, it really hasn't, no new news really, so. Then, I wrote my notes down here. We do have, I think I told you guys, we do have one case that we're looking at probate for. Update on Paul is that he's working remotely right now from Pennsylvania, so I just thought I would some people know already, but let the rest of you know he's working in Pennsylvania. Kelly Randerman is staying still. She took a 2-week vacation and decided that she wanted to come back and work still because she just loves the community, and so her and her husband are trying to figure out another way so that they can stay permanently. So we didn't lose our female provider, which is really good because she's got a good patient base. And I saw that Dr. McCarty, who was lagging a little bit, his has come up quite a bit, and I think it's because Dr. Akers isn't here, and it's starting to float into giving more opportunity for him to have patients as well. And I think the only thing I would mention is we do have some work we're doing on the boilers. We had a boiler that they put the wrong pH, being the company that services us, had the wrong pH that they gave us to put in an aluminum boiler, and it's actually affected all 3 of our boilers and our main engines. So Allison and ourselves are working on a solution to that, where at least they're going to pay, that company will pay for some of this damage that they've done, because each boiler costs 60 to 70,000, depending on the rate, and, they know that, they wrote that it was aluminum and everything, and still gave us the wrong pH balances for it, so it's caused a leak in one of them, which we're not using. The other two are working fine right now, so, but it's a real challenge, I would say. And, everything else I have is pretty much, employee related, and so I can't really speak to any of it right now. I would say that. The staff's been doing a great job. I'm very proud of them. Working on stuff, getting things done. So,
So, any other questions for Kathy? Okay, Dottie, do you want to do your quick foundation?
Sure. We met the end of January and Kathy was there and Paul hopped in on the meeting. He happened to be walking down the hall, and so that was nice that the foundation members were able to meet him, and he just gave a little talk about his background and stuff, so that was good. And Jen Womack joined the team. We're still looking for more people, and so that's an ongoing thing. Jen,
and they said they would accept staff, so just let me know if any staff member wants to become a foundation member. Just saying. Don't have to say anything right now.
and they are still working on the brochure as far as the trifold brochure for donations and stuff to the foundation. We need to update some things, and Jen said she would get that taken care of. And Katie elected not to be treasurer this next year, and so, and Jen has too many irons in the fire, and so Mark and Joanna are kind of sharing that until we get another member that can take that on. But the two of them, between the two of them, they're going to take care of the treasurer's position. So that's about it. As far as Mark,
Yeah.
no, he's the president or whatever, so he does whatever he wants.
Let's just say he always needs a partner.
Well, he did tell me, it was kind of funny, because before he was kind of dragging his feet about me being on the foundation, and now he said, he told me the other day, because he asked me if I was running for election, and I said yes, and he said, well, because Joanna and I already talked about it, you don't have to be on the board to still be on my foundation board. So,
Well, that's nice of you.
yeah. So I guess I'm there for a while.
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions for Dottie?
Thank you for doing both.
Yes. So on the bylaws, we did meet here, and then after really diving, it was hard for me at least to get another meeting going, but, so we're actually in fairly good shape, where we've got through up until the medical,
I think.
so through 4, so we're doing fairly good. I wondered if we wanted, Ted, you had expressed desire, do you want to join us?
Sure, I'll join you on the bylaws if you
Yeah.
feel
So
you.
that would just be nice to have, because I know you had wanted before, so, anyway, so we, the 4 of us can't leave today without getting a meeting set to work on it. At least I will try to keep it.
I think that we have close to
We're
everything
getting really.
that he had done, and we just did a few things at the meeting, and I'm just praying that my notes show what we
I
did,
know,
so,
between the three of us, I would think that our notes would show.
yeah. What do you think, Mary?
I think so.
I think so too.
And Linda told me the other day, whether it'll come about or not, she told me that she was gonna give me all of Lynn's notes. As far as hospital and stuff. It will help a lot.
Yeah, plus he got a lot, he was a finder of many things, because he'd ask for many things, so he's probably got a lot of legislative information and stuff you guys would like to see. He looked up everything.
I'm very happy that we'll still have his input in our new bylaws.
Yeah, and he offered to do that so that I wouldn't have to do it. That was pretty nice of him. He's like, you got enough to do. I'll do this. And I think he really enjoyed it.
I do too.
Yeah,
It was something that he would enjoy.
Yeah.
I would.
He really enjoyed it.
I just appreciated the fact that the wording was the way it should be.
Yes.
Instead of a lot of repeat or whatever.
Mumbo jumbo.
You cut to the chase. I love that.
Yeah.
One word replaced Dustin.
And it was right after that he
It
died.
was awesome.
I know. It's very sad.
So the other thing, so I had Denise advertise and for William's position, and it should have went into the paper that came out last night today. She got it onto Facebook, I believe last Friday. Anyway, the 27th is I just arbitrarily said 2 weeks. And so the 27th is the last day to put in for that. So,
It is in the paper.
okay.
Yeah.
And so the question is how do we want to work going about choosing a person? Or, once we have the names in, do we?
Just the person to replace William is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Or do you replace, or do
I
you?
think we don't have to. If we didn't, we would go we'd have to talk to the county, but we've already got it advertised anyway. But otherwise, it says if we don't have it done in 30 days, I think, then the county commissioners can do
Well, and I remember, if I remember right, if we don't get any applications, which we haven't so far, right? For William, we haven't even advertised Williams. We just, yes, so, I'm sorry, I'm out of the loop. So,
Well, I just read the statute,
it.
and so what it says, if you guys can't agree on a person, then the county commissioners can appoint within 30 days.
but you guys can't appoint if you can't find anybody to come in, you can try to get somebody in.
Right. So, but I think that we might have one person at least that's interested. So, so I think it's a possibility. But the question is do we set a meeting? So I wonder, I was thinking, do we do it the same day that you want to do the
Audit?
audit?
Yeah, that could work, that would work fine. I just don't know the exact date yet, but
Right. But that would be a special meeting anyway, so we could do two things.
I would prefer that so we don't do it. Like I said, I can't do it. Yeah,
next week or?
next month I can't. Next
Okay.
month.
Okay.
I can't do that. So if we do a special one, it'd be better.
So, but that's all gonna depend on when we get the audit, so we can't really make that decision.
We better have it next week or I'm gonna have a heart attack.
So please,
First week of March. I'm serious. They're looking at me like, no.
So you're talking like the week of the 23rd of February? You're talking like the week
No, I
of the
think
23rd, or you talking the first part of March?
I think we're talking the first week of March.
Which he says he's gonna be gone, right?
No, I'm gonna for the
he's
next
gonna-
meeting.
The March 24th.
The third.
Okay, so yes, I think it'll be it'll be the first week that we get the draft. Let me try to rush through the draft so that we can then have the final with you guys. It shouldn't be any big deal to do that. So,
So maybe look at your calendar and set aside a day and see
Okay.
if it'll work.
okay, well, and what day should I avoid of the week? Any day I have to avoid? It's probably hard for Carrie to know until she knows the date.
I'm
More,
okay.
you're retired now. so-
Well, I was just looking at the calendar, I'm going to probably miss the March meetings too.
So,
Because
We for sure should get somebody for So we have.
then you might need to just change the date you have it for that month.
That's true too.
5 years here.
We changed, oh,
Yeah, change the March meeting date if you're not gonna have a quorum.
I think you'd still have a forum, but at the same time, be able to come, I probably would be able to
Yeah,
come.
I'm gonna be at a place where I'm not gonna be able to easily get onto the Wi-Fi, so.
so
Well, I think
you're.
let's
that whole week?
let's
No,
just
just that
see, but
Thursday.
Just that one
Yeah,
day.
just
You
have
can
it for that.
inform.
I will be gone that entire week.
It's not gonna be very rich of a quorum. I think our bylaws right now say that a quorum is 5.
Yeah.
And that would, you don't have somebody appointed that's, that you can't miss, yeah.
It's
true,
not a
let's take
majority.
on.
It's five.
Well, it is,
Bylaws say 5.
Oh, interesting. Anyway,
yeah, for some reason, I think we're changing it in the new bylaws, so it's just majority.
Right.
But I think it said 5 in the old one, the current
so
one.
do you want to change it to the last week, the 26th instead of the 19th?
Be great for me if
That
you
would
did.
be fine.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so,
I believe that would be okay with me.
so
but-
March 26th is our actual meeting. So will we need to advertise that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
For what it's worth, that's better for me.
No, well, perfect.
Well, it is really important for us to get your days right, Allison. Keep us out of trouble.
So Gary, would we have our,
So,
finance March 24th then?
yeah, we could do that, just change it.
So,
Yeah.
when is the normal? It's the same week
It's
as
the,
this meeting.
right, the
Okay.
Tuesday before the meeting, so.
I need to make sure I get that in my schedule right. so I
And
don't-
that's pretty consistent.
Okay.
That- The
So,
finance.
while we're
meeting is-
changing meetings,
So is the quality, but I still messed up on it.
so while we're changing meetings, we should change the April one too, because it's one of those months where it's technically the third Thursday, but it's not, so we should change the April one to the 20th.
Yeah, because that's gonna really push all the
'Cause-
reports.
Right, because the second, that's one of those months where we usually try to change it, because
It is, yeah.
So then in April, so April 23rd, does anybody have a problem with that?
That's too far away.
I won't be here, but I won't be here on the 16th either. So,
So the April meeting.
So did you hear that, Allison, April 23rd?
That also is good for me.
Okay.
I would suggest you make a motion so that it's documented in the minutes when you're ready.
Thank you, Allison. Okay, do we want to try to figure out the meeting for the audit right now, or do you want to wait until you have to? For a meeting for audit and for,
I'm scared to set a date and then it be wrong, to be honest with you. I'd rather just set it once. Is that okay with you guys? Because I don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to jinx it.
problem might be April.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we change the March Board of Trustees meeting to the 26th of March. So we change the Finance Committee meeting to to the 24th of March, and to change the April Board of Trustees meeting to the 23rd of April.
I'll second that.
So do you want to change the finance committee meeting then too, in April?
Would normally make sense.
To the 21st.
And to change the finance committee meeting to April 21st.
Get that, Mary.
Thanks.
Oh, Ben already did?
I
All right,
did, but you
sorry.
can if you want.
No, it's fine, you can have it. I'm trying to build up my stats in the
Okay.
newspaper.
I know, I was second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Okay, it has been passed, and we have our March 26th, we have our March meeting on the 26th, and our April meeting on the 23rd.
And then you'll just hopefully text the right number to let me know.
I think
Who you
you
been
need
talking
to.
to?
I don't know. You need to sign this.
And we will, if we have anybody put their names in, we will, on the same day that we do the audit, that we look at the audit, we will look at people to fill Lily's position.
Madam Chair, and maybe this is preliminary, but to get it in the minutes, maybe once again, do we need to declare a vacancy?
I have no idea.
Do you plan to declare a vacancy?
We have to declare it.
From what I read in the statute, no, because he died, it
Is automatic.
is automatic.
All right, that's good enough. I didn't
I
know
do
whether
think we
you
should
did.
probably, well, we acknowledge it in the meeting just by the fact that we did what we
I
did.
thought so too, but
Yeah.
I was trying to make it very clear.
I've been trying to read the
Resign.
statute, so I know why I'm doing what I'm doing with the election, and that was part of it.
Mhm.
But we're gonna leave the quality meetings as is, right? Fine? We're gonna leave committee meetings as is.
Yes.
Except, okay.
It's good because I just changed it. You throw me off really bad.
Is the quality meeting on that same day?
I'll have to look. I don't
Because if it is, then that might be a problem. Because it's at 4, we have to be,
No, it's earlier in the month.
It's
Okay.
usually on Wednesday.
Yeah.
yes, I just looked at the thing and it says go, then I go.
Second Wednesday.
I just look at my calendar going, oh, there's quality today.
What did I do first? There's something.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Would you guys like to do a plan with the cards, or do you want to wait till the service?
I think you should do
What
both.
is, that's, what's you guys' thoughts? Plan now or the cards?
I think it would be good to do both. That's, because he is a board member.
Okay. Now, is there anything else that we need to talk about before we take a quick break and then go into executive session? Anything else? Discuss, bring up?
I just looked to March 11th is quality and April 8th, so we're good.
What does seem, they're about a month apart, aren't
Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break or so. Does that sound good to everybody? And then we will, what's that?
You want 10?
Well, we got filler plates.
Oh, yes, a 10-minute break. Okay, 10-minute break. And then we will get started on
Thanks for
this.
keeping us on track.
At 10-minute break, basically,
So it's 7:10. So
at 7:10, we'll come back.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
we're going to do this.
To go into executive session, yeah.
Does anybody want to?
I'll make the motion. So we ready?
Can we, before we acquaint our attorney, before we go do this?
What do we ask them after? If we have to.
It is been talked about that maybe now we don't have to read the entire statute, that we could name the statute. I don't know whether Alan heard anything on that or not.
Oh, is that from that meeting you went to?
Or no, from last meeting.
William
So-
talked about.
So what I would tell you is nothing requires you to read it. The reason that I have you read it is so that it is in the record for purposes if someone were to allege that you did not go into executive session for reasons under Wyoming statute. You're telling which parts of the statute you're going into executive session under. And then that helps us to keep our executive session focused on those items that are allowed under statute. So no, technically you do not have to. However, I've been in litigation on this and it makes it easier if you state what you went into executive session for.
I was gonna say, you know, if somebody's come up with a new idea, I'm willing to a new idea. But I understand what
Thank you, Allison.
Sure.
Ready to make the motion? I move that we move into executive session under Wyoming statute 16-4-405A2 to consider the employment, right to practice or dismissal of a public officer, professional person or employee, and 9, to consider or receive any information classified as confidential by law, including attorney-client privileged communications, patient information, quality information, and trade secrets.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. Very simple. Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Wait, all those in favor of moving into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Okay, we are in executive session.
Look down, 7:15, executive session started.
Record time there.
That was a good cupcake.
Okay. At
8:39.
8:39. We'll be back into regular session.
Okay, so we are back into regular session. Do we have anything that needs taken care of?
No votes, no votes.
So I entertain your motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Anyone want to second?
I'll
it?
second.
All right, thank you, Ben. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison.
Thanks. Good night.
I'll